Now is up.
Now.
Bugs flying in my mouth.
Ooh, watch live. See
go.
that right there? That's what it looks like, y'all, when you get a push notification from us.
Boom.
Feels like we can cowboy this one up a little bit.
Right? Get a little sideways.
We don't have to worry about hurting anybody's feelings.
I don't know. I got after the I felt a little bit, not bad, but I was like, maybe I got after the MOATF guys a little heavy on some of the
I think they thought it was
making
funny.
fun. So hopefully they're all in good spirits.
I
don't think they're offended whatsoever, but thought it was funny.
Yeah, it was good.
Well, we're waiting on folks to join.
Yeah.
I have tweeted out. Should be good to go. I got everything up. Everything's moving. Everything's ready.
Anybody talking shit on the wall yet?
Not quite. Let's see. We'll get. Those things don't feel like they're lined up right.
Flying solo to Talladega.
Looks better. We'll see.
Roger's here.
Roger, you got that
Diet
Dr. Pepper. That's what you're drinking tonight.
I got my kind of Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. It's like warm in here. And
it is warm. I thought it was going to be cold, so I
would open this window and it's like stuck. I don't think I've ever opened it.
That's okay. I'll just sweat a little bit. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll deal with. The only thing for me is these glasses.
Does it fog them up on you?
Straight fog up on me, so I got to wear them down here like an old man or something.
What happens if we turn the fan on? Does that fuck everything up?
Air will move things around. Wrong one.
I do that in the other bedroom every single time.
You can see it on YouTube right there. That was good. Bologna and Frito sandwich. I hear you, man. Ooh, that feels better already. There's some folks joining on.
That does feel good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's one of the things I like about these rash guard shirts is they almost do an even better job than your skin of getting cool air.
Oh, yeah, distributes it across the whole thing. Yeah, I hear you. What's up, y'all? Who else is on here?
Doodly doot
see a few folks
it's
watching.
Got 7. Nobody else is talking but Roger.
It's all good. That's fine if you just want to sit there and listen. No guests tonight.
We will,
for the first time in 17 weeks. We're excited to actually bring y'all us freestyling or doing whatever the hell it's called that we do.
Getting sideways.
What's up, Jumpy Bob?
Off the jump. We got the draft tonight, so any of our hardcore NFL followers are probably paying a lot of attention to that.
I
don't care about the draft as much as it intrigues me what happens.
Sure, yeah. It's one of those things. Let me read it the next day and read everything. Read where everybody went. And
we'll be done with the show before the Falcons even draft, so we'll get to go downstairs and put that on TV.
Well, now that's a good point. I will put it on, but it's not like I'm making them.
I'll listen to it on the radio on the way here.
Yeah. I'm not.
I heard picks 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Okay.
On the way here.
Cool.
680's decided to do we're doing the whole night. Well, the first round.
What's the AAF Atlanta team going to be called? I saw the
Michael
headline
Vick.
that Michael Vick is going to be
offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
He's like, run till you puke, run till you puke.
Yeah. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for whatever this football league is too.
I'm intrigued by it for sure. I mean, what do people want right now? More football, right? So make it happen.
Well, and what do we want? We want to, I guess everybody has a chance to play high school football if they want to. Those are all pretty much funded by the school programs and the booster clubs. But to have an elite level to be able to do that at like AAU basketball.
Yeah.
Could be, as long as it doesn't get corrupt and, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if there's going to be an academy like soccer, they need to teach them something, too.
Yeah.
You got to go to class, damn it.
Yeah, right. It'll be fun. It'll be, fun to follow. So funny story for the folks on the YouTube. Sherwin showed up. Of course, we've announced it and everything. We're going to Dega this weekend. So he drove over instead of taking the lift.
Oh yeah, got all my crap.
So he's got all his stuff ready. We're leaving tomorrow midday, and he shows up, and I say, "What's up?" And I turn around and I look at him and I go, "Oh hell!" And he kind of looks at me because he hadn't noticed yet. And I sort of do like that. I point down to my own shirt, and I look back up at him, and he goes, "Oh crap!" We're wearing the exact same shirt again, probably for the. Hey, it's
What's funny is I went through like
now.
5 different shirts before I picked this one, because I got I got the Power Skiff, that royal blue shirt. That's packed away in my bag for this weekend. I got the shirt you're wearing. I got a Bowman Showman '88 shirt. I got another Yonkers Motorsports shirt, and I got the Tommy Joe shirt that I can't wear because it's too tight. Sorry, Tommy Joe. Speaking of him, autograph session at 4:15. I hope that's Central Time. We got a shot at being there if it is.
Ooh, that's a good point on Central Time. I'd never thought about that. So yeah, that's a good point. It's only 2 hours west of here, but that gets us across the border. That lets us have that sort of deal.
Yeah. So if we can hit the road by 1, we'll be in good shape.
Oh yeah.
Because we'll hit the border and it'll be 1 o'clock again.
Exactly. We will not have left, and we're halfway there.
Right.
Perfect. Well, are we ready to get started?
Yes.
shoot.
I don't know why we wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Oh, let's get some beers out.
Oh yeah. Grab me a beer.
Dude. One thing
I got a
about
bunch of
Alabama is they are getting better at beer.
Well, good.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Good.
I got 3 different Alabama beers. So,
Barking
4,
frog.
excuse me. What do you want?
Anything. It don't matter.
All right, we got this.
Ooh, hello.
Fairhope the Causeway. Oh, that's their feature IPA.
Oh, cool. Okay.
That one's a little spicy.
Lower Alabama's craft brewery. Oh, and look, it's not clear either. It's like it's a little bit cloudy. So you know, it was kind of either bottle conditioned or unfiltered or whatever. So that's cool.
Let's see. I'll just have the same one. I brought 2 of those.
Cool. Here's a bottle opener.
And there's 1 each of some other stuffs in there. And then I had to. I've got a 4-pack of that Lexington Brewing, the bourbon barrel stuff, but I got the stout.
Oh, nice. Well, PTM Posse, cheers to y'all. Thanks for joining us on a nice little Thursday here. Cheers, Sherwin.
All right.
Oh, that's good. Sweet. Real sweet.
I blacked out at Total Wine. It was awesome.
I don't have them. Been there, done that. All right, y'all. Like we said, we're flying solo tonight. So if you're hanging out with us, be sure to heckle and send us some
and
comments and whatnot.
Definitely go retweet the link on Twitter.
Oh yeah,
to the show. See if you can get some of your people to go. What are these idiots doing?
yeah. Should be a fun show tonight. If I don't crack my voice like that.
I know. Like they say that's supposed to go away when you're like going through puberty, but it doesn't.
Oh no!
It eventually happens like all the time.
The weird part is that comes out, that once every 2 weeks or something, and you have that like moment, and you go, "Oh crap!" Ugh.
Well, it's funny when your friends call you out like right away too. Like, "Oh, you 15 again?"
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah,
man.
Well, you can only call someone out because you do it yourself that often.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a returnable favor.
Oh yeah, you're paying it forward on the next given ish to somebody. So let's do it. You ready, Sherwin?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to get what you sent me copied.
Okay. If you need a minute.
No, I don't. I need like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I just want to have it in front of me and not on the. You know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
I wrote most of this crap, but I haven't seen any of yours yet, so it'll give me a chance to preview it while you're doing the read.
Yeah, the SPTM is up. The tearing it down was the report card. Boy, that fan feels way good now.
It's doing all the
doing
things.
what we wanted it to. All right, y'all. Let's do it. Here we go. Starting recording.
Fire in the hole. Oh, I should have waited for that.
Well, we're recording now. Welcome, y'all! That's right. This is the Pregame Engineer Tailgate Mayor Racing Podcast, episode number 144. It's Thursday. What is it? April 26th, 2018. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace in the PTM Podcast studio with Andrew Sherwin, Pregame Engineer. What's up, dude?
Oh, man. So we haven't done this by ourselves in like a long time. So I don't know if we'll be able to figure this out, but maybe we will.
Yeah, I mean, I already messed up. I forgot what day it was.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's fine.
But
it says it right down there at the bottom of your computer.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, we're calling it Flying Solo to Talladega. Before we get started with that, the PTM podcast is sponsored by you. That's right. You go to patreon.com/PTM, join the What You Drink Club for as little as $1 a month, and get that free koozie. Best part is every cent in 2018, we're donating to sponsoring drivers. Join the PTM posse today. Be a part of the sport you love. This year, sponsoring Jensen Jorgensen there in the Legends Series. That's about to kick off here in like a month, Sherwin. We're getting excited, or less than a month now. I think we're counting down.
I'm just waiting to hear from Atlanta Motor Speedway saying that, hey, why don't y'all come on down for Media Day?
That's right. This week's show is brought to you by our official sponsors at the $5 and up per month level. That's Catherine. All right, let's start this over. Here we go. Catherine Kingston, Ashley Stang, David Patterson, Laura Henshaw, Harry Bolzania, Mick Rose, Aaron Bearden, Robert Kaplinger, Tony Salt, Colby McClain, Eric Kepner, Ryan Kiefer, Marion Levesque, Patrick Cleary, Jeff Brown, Brandon Crowd, Kathleen McDonald, Stacey Wright, Brandon Carl, had to do two breaths, Billy Workman, Rika Porter, Jumpy Bob and Les Miller, Jason Rudd, Tommy Witt, and Mark Wiley. So,
wow. Just so everybody knows, there's no way I could do that, so that's why Rusty has to do it. So, I mean, like, we can't give him too much hell if it doesn't go right, because he doesn't have a backup plan. Yeah. Because I'm not going to do that.
I'm going to hit you with a number, Sherwin. 17, number of weeks since we've flown solo on this show. So it's almost like we don't know exactly what we're doing now. Do we still know how to podcast? Or do we lean on people so hard?
I think so. I think we had to do this in order to be sure that we could actually carry a show without a guest.
Right. These awkward 4-second pauses. Whose turn is it?
Yeah, I started doing some quick math. I'm like, 17 weeks. That's like 4 months.
4 months.
That's like a third of a year. I mean, it's pretty cool, actually. I think I'm more just proud than anything that we were able to assemble that many guests in a row, knowing that people have crazy schedules and off season, who knows what people are doing.
Right.
So thanks to all of them for coming and giving content to you, the people that are listening and watching right now, because without them, we wouldn't be able to create that content. Excuse me, I'm stumbling over my words too today.
You can't do it. No, it's cool. We're gonna have a blast tonight. We've been excited actually for several days now about doing the solo show again. I don't know why we're talking about it so much. There's plenty of folks who do it all the time, but we hadn't done it so long. It'll be fun. Sherwin, you know how we started. What you drinking tonight?
Per usual, we've robbed your liquor cabinet.
Mm-hmm. It's good
got
stuff.
Some white label Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, and I've got a comment in just a minute about that. But the coolest thing is Alabama is producing some great beer right now, and this is one of them. It's called the Causeway IPA from Fairhope Brewing, which is, they call themselves Lower Alabama's craft brewery, and it's quite good.
It is delicious. It's a little bit sweet, which probably means it's like 20. No, it's 8.2%.
8.2. I knew it was pretty
deep. A little
deep.
Bit cloudy. So I was saying in the pre-show, it's either unfiltered or bottle conditioned or something. It's good. I like it.
Yeah, I had actually had it before. Taco Mac has a selection of 4 different Alabama breweries, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Now, you said you had a story about something down there?
Oh, yeah. Well, so I know it snuck up on us because we've had such crappy weather, and we're used to running around in shorts and T-shirts and grilling and sweating.
Yep.
But in honor of this weekend's Kentucky Derby, I've got a handle.
It's a comically large thing of bullet bourbon. I've never seen
that
their
bottle
before.
Is so weirdly shaped.
Yeah, and they keep that shape for the handles, right?
Yeah. So, right. This is just a scaled up version of the 5th.
Right, and I think I've only seen the 5th or the liter maybe, and he shows up with that thing, and like I said, comically large bottle of whiskey.
It is fun, and this is probably there's not going to be much left of this by the time the weekend's over.
No, sir.
And hopefully, the race on Saturday is over by 7 o'clock. 6 o'clock our time, 5 o'clock Central time, so that we can watch the ponies run. But if it's not, it's not. That's fine.
Yes, sir. Sherwin, I've got a second installment for 2 weeks in a row. The second installment of Rusty's Awful Advice.
I've been looking forward to this all day. Well, since last night, really.
When I tweeted out that I had something. So last week, if y'all remember, the PETM podcast fully supported children playing with fire.
It is a necessary skill.
That was the out of context version of that. This week, Sherwin, I'm going to start this one off a couple of maybe 3 or 4 years ago, right? We went down to the lake. Me and Serena and some of our, what the world? That was my
Somebody just call you?
no, my computer's like, hey, let's restart. That'll be fun. And I'm like, well, no, we're doing a podcast, man. Let's snooze. Anyway, where was I? we were down at the lake. Me and Serena are down at the lake with 2 other couples, Whalens and Clarks, and actually the sponsors were there too. So this might have been 5 or 6 years ago, whatever it was. And we're sitting in the lake. Y'all know how it is at the lake. We didn't rent a boat this time. We're just going to the lake to go get out on the lake, sit there and drink. And I sit. My preferred, Sherwin, your preferred method of floating, I think, is the life jacket as a diaper kind of thing.
Yeah. You put the life jacket on. You put your feet through the armholes,
right?
And you wear it like a diaper. So
right.
You just kind of float perfect height to where your beer's not in the water.
Yeah.
Because it'll get warm on you.
And I totally respect that one, and I've done that one many times. But my preferred, one of the big fat noodles, give me that noodle. And I'm all day on the noodle, man. Yeah, because I mean it's versatile too. Like you can sit in it like a swing. You can sit cowboy style.
True.
You can get some water in one end of it and blow it out the other at unsuspecting girls.
You can turn it into a weapon.
Yeah.
Whether it's a projectile weapon or just something you swing at people.
Exactly. So we're sitting out there floating out on the lake. Y'all know how, if you've ever been drinking on the lake, you know how it is. I mean, you're just out there. You're on the lake the whole day, 8 hours straight. You might get out to get some lunch, but that's early on in the drinking kind of ordeal.
Rusty, are you saying you don't get out of the lake to pee?
No.
Nobody gets out of the lake to pee.
No.
What are we talking about? There's all kinds of fish poop in there.
You either swim away from everybody because you want to be courteous, or you swim right up next to one of your best buddies.
Yeah.
Right up next to. And they're like, dude, what are you doing? And you get that grin on your face. And they're like, oh, crap.
Yeah, this is reality, y'all.
Yeah, that's how it is.
This is not scripted, y'all. This is just this real life story.
This is what happens. So you're in the lake, you're bobbing up and down all day long, right? Now,
and your weight's completely supported by the water,
right?
So you have no idea.
No idea
how drunk you are.
You get out of the lake later on, and I mean you're in the lake, and I mean you could do calculus, right? Everything is perfectly fine until you take that first step fully out of the water, and you go, I'm drunk. Whatever.
Oh yeah. It's like, I mean, it's like 10 times worse when you spend like 5 hours in a hot tub, but it's very similar.
Right. So I ended up. This was probably an hour before getting out, so we're pretty good at this point.
Yeah.
But we had been talking. And all you're doing in the lake is just talking and giving each other ish and telling stories and making grand plans for stupid things, right? and so we had this grand plan that we're going to go to Vegas. Let's all go to Vegas. It'll be awesome. It'll be hilarious. Vegas! It'll be funny. Woo! And we are lake drunk at this point, right? And I, being the kind of a-hole, whatever, put your money where your mouth is kind of guy, I swim over to shore and or over to the dock, and I didn't even get out of the lake. I'm holding my phone up like this, and I'm mashing buttons, and I look over at them, and I go, hey, I just bought 2 tickets to Vegas. We going, baby. Woo! Like, we'd already decided what weekend it theoretically could be and all this stuff. So, of course, I wake up the next morning, and I'm like, I'm feeling, this Sunday morning coming down stuff, right? And I'm
like either
what happened? I think we're going to Vegas.
I either need Tylenol and 3 glasses of water, or I just need a beer.
Right. So it was like, oh, man, we're going to Vegas. Dude, we went to Vegas. We had a blast. The other couples, some of them bought tickets later on, and we still had a good time. Fast forward 6 years later, 6 days ago, like Friday night, right? The wife was out with her friends doing stuff. I'm like, well, I'm going to get me into some liquor. And I got into some liquor. I got into it deep. And I text Sherwin at this point, and I say, so, your thoughts on Talladega? What if we go? Because I get this harebrained idea, making plans in my head and stuff. And I get 2 texts back from Sherwin. First text says, yes. Second text says, hard yes. I wake up the next morning.
Who was also deep in the liquor.
Right. I wake up the next morning, and I'm like, I think I'm going to Talladega. I turn to my wife. I think we're going to Talladega. She's like, oh, that's cool. She's actually going out of town, so it works out perfect. I don't know how it hit me at that point. But, y'all, Rusty's awful advice. Every few years, you need to make a large financial decision while completely plastered. And you're going to have fun, I promise. So.
Oh, yeah. You can absolutely force yourself to have fun.
Oh yeah.
By making a drunken decision.
So here's the point: play with fire, make drunk decisions, and
that's going to happen tomorrow night on Talladega Boulevard,
and that might happen both at the same time.
And because I was listening to the Glass Case of Emotion podcast earlier this evening, I'm a glass hole, and they were talking about what weird games they're going to play, because that's a new thing on Talladega Boulevard to engage the fans. Fans are going to be doing dumb things, like 4 fans are going to be handed gigantic sponges, and they have to run through 600 gallons of, not sure what it's going to be yet, soak up as much as they can and squeeze it into a bucket. I'm watching that.
I like that. Beast here says, most of my slot car purchases are made that way. Do you remember our buddy Chris Canis, no longer with us, but we call him Nuts, and we were at his house, and he got a delivery, and he opens it up, and I believe it was a stuffed purple elephant or something, or rhino.
It was a pig.
Or pig.
It was a pig with wings.
Pig with wings.
And it was like battery powered.
And we go, what the hell is that, dude? He goes, oh, dude, Ambien purchase right there. He took his Ambien, but didn't fall asleep.
Didn't go to bed.
And evidently that you get some weird stuff that happens.
That bought an army cot. I love it. It was comical. He's kind of like me in that he was a bachelor living in a house by himself. No one there to say, don't do that.
Right. Like, what are you doing on Amazon or wherever you are, Etsy, at 3 a.m. after you've taken Ambien?
Right. It's like, that was good stuff.
So there you go, guys. The Rusty's off. I don't know if I have further awful advice for. I can't keep making this column, otherwise people are going to start taking it seriously.
I got one. I'll hold it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We'll have Sherwin's awful advice for next week. But there it is, y'all. Play with fire and make some drunk decisions. And with that, I think it's time to start tearing it down at Richmond Sherwin.
Well, Kyle Busch 3-peat. We had 2 3-peats in 1 year. That's kind of crazy.
That is crazy. How does that work out?
I don't even know.
So that takes us. The tearing it down. I've kind of started hijacking it for the report card segment here, and so that is our first period. First off, dude, I got to blow the horn. There's the horn. David from MOATF called it.
He picked Snickers.
Called the 3-peat on the show.
Snickers.
On our show. We're not gonna take other people's picks and blow the horn for him on this show. It's you got to be on the PTM podcast and call
it. Right. No. Yeah.
So he gets it, man. Hats off and props to him.
Way to go, David,
for doing that.
Dork.
The 3 in a row, but we're watching history and stuff. Give this race a grade, Sherwin. If you're an outsider and you look at it and you go, there's Kyle Busch winning again. But I think there was a whole lot of more nuance that happened. Give a grade, report card grade to this race.
I'm going to give it a straight A. And the reason why I'm going to give it a straight A is we did have a 3-peat winner, which is generally going to leave a cloud hanging over some of the fans. But who I want to give an A+ to is Goodyear, because they brought a tire that faded, and that's what you got to have. That's what makes good racing. Movers and what do they call it? Comers and goers. You had to save your tires. I mean, you heard Tony Stewart getting on the radio with Clint and Kevin Harvick saying, "Y'all don't race each other right now, because you got to save your tires." Mm-hmm. And that was cool to hear, because I was listening to Clint's radio the whole race, and to hear Tony come on and just really coach him 3 different times. And not coach Clint. He was actually coaching the crew chief. He was on Channel 2, the one that the driver can't hear. Mm-hmm. Saying you got to tell him to save his tires. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think you get to see history in this race. You got to see, because this stuff doesn't happen all the time. These 3 in a row things, and like you said, for it to happen twice the same week. But you get to see that. I thought the racing up front was really good. Pit strategies mattered so much because, and a lot of this had to do, all the lead changes, all of the pit strategies, all that stuff. A lot of that goes back to exactly what you were just talking about, the Goodyear tire stuff. But the effect on the fans is being able to see all this stuff on the track happen. I give it a straight A as well. So they did a great job there. This is what you want in racing. This is how you want these things to happen. And you want multiple contenders up front. you want lead changes, you want strategy, all that stuff. All that was there, and it was a mile track. We can kind of call it a short track, but
it's
it qualified, or 3/4. Sorry.
Yeah.
So it definitely qualifies at that point. And Sherwin, you wanted to talk about short tracks a little bit. I think I saw.
Oh, well, I put in the short track spotlight. We haven't exactly got that
segment
off the ground yet.
We'll get there.
But here's the thing, though. Along with that, I listened to Ricky and Rick Mast's podcast. They did live from Richmond, where they had the guys from Racing Virginia on. Mm-hmm. And Virginia is just so far ahead of the game on this whole, bring things back to short track, like pay it forward, pay it back. Let's get, we want people on Saturday night or Friday night to be at the local track, and then Sunday they go to the race in their local region. Like the whole, we like short track racing, and we want to go to the Cup race too.
Right.
Kind of stuff. That's kind of what they were talking about. Those guys are going to be on our show at some point. They've already agreed to do it. So that's the short track spotlight for today. Is go take a look at what at Racing Virginia is doing, and especially if you're a Virginian. And go find wherever your closest local track. I believe, based on what I heard them say, Virginia probably has the most in operation short tracks right now, and at least in the southeast.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because Georgia, we don't have a one.
I mean, we got a few.
Asphalt late model short
track.
Yeah,
I got you. Yeah.
The only one right now in operation is in Cordele.
Yeah. They shut down Gresham.
Yeah, the Watermelon Speedway. So if you really want that part, we've really appreciated what Kevin Harvick has done. He went out and raced in his hometown. Wasn't his home speedway when he was a kid, but it's in his hometown now.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyle, always is running late model stuff to try to help. As much. I think he's trying to find talent as much as he just wants to win races.
Sure. At this point, yeah.
So
ulterior motive.
Probably one of the most respected talent scouts, in the game right now, I would imagine, considering who all he's pulled forward. But so check out at Racing Virginia. That's our short track spotlight for today.
Yeah, awesome. Chase Elliott with another second place finish. This is not like report card stuff. This is just kind of breaking down. 8 total second places. Ties his dad, Hall of Famer. Ties his dad with number of second place finishes. I don't know what to say. Everybody says it's coming for him. I didn't think this race was like in his hands and then he lost it. He just happened to. It was kind of like at the end. It was like, whoa, there's Chase. That's awesome.
No, we had those late race cautions as we sometimes do, and he got 2 or 3 really good restarts.
Yeah. So he kind of snuck in a second. So I think he did really well to get up in second place this time, as opposed to, I think there's been some times where he's been real disappointed at getting the second place. So that was that was a good second versus like maybe you should have had that one, dude.
Yeah, and I think so. He tweeted something out, and I don't want to try to pretend that I know what mood or philosophy he was thinking about when he sent the tweet out, but he sent a picture out that was like him next to his dad and said, I've been asked a bunch of times if I'm going to live up to how good Dad was. Mm-hmm. He said, well, here we go. And it was both of them, but pictures, and 8 second place finishes.
Oh, wow.
Before their first win.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, that doesn't mean he's going to come out and win Talladega, which if he did would be pretty freaking amazing. All things considered, considering his dad holds a track record and all that stuff, and won a lot of times on the big tracks. But I don't know that you will be able to finish 8 times second place and not eventually win a race.
I agree. Yeah, got to happen. Strong run for Jimmy, 6th place. And now and
strong all day, really.
Strong, yeah. Strong all day. He did not just creep up in there and wasn't talked about all race or nothing. Here's the crazy part that I'm looking up. If you'd have asked me where he was in points, because I hadn't really been following the points. I'm following the winners and stuff, but points wise, he's 15th in points. Like I'd have thought, and Chase is 20th in points.
Yeah,
and we've been talking about Chase a lot more than Jimmy. So like, what the hell's going on there? But my big thing now with Kyle having 3, Harvick having 3, that means there's not going to be 18 winners this season or this.
You know what?
deal.
I think somebody sent me a question for Ask PETM about that I forgot to put in the notes.
Oh,
so
okay.
let's go ahead and talk about it now.
You know what? Actually, it is on there, Andrew Kansian. So we'll say it right now at KHANTZIAN. With Harvick and Busch already at 3 wins, there's no talk of getting 16 or more winners this year. How does that affect the strategy of someone deep in points? Chase Elliott, he mentioned, who's in 20th. Jamie McMurray, 24th at a wild card track like Talladega or a road course. Let's start with this. Jimmy Johnson in 15th place. So I think these are actually 3 great places to go. Jimmy Johnson in 15th, Chase Elliott in 20th, and
Jamie
McMurray in 24th.
Yep.
So let's break that down. Jimmy Johnson in 15th. Does he need to win a race at this point? We were talking about like he needs to win a race.
No, they just need to get the Camaro figured out.
Totally agree.
And he'll be running back up where he'll score enough points it won't matter.
I don't think he's at risk at all at this point of missing the playoffs, like we were talking about in the first 5 to 6 races. That boy, Jimmy better get his game on if he's going to finish or if he's going to get in the playoffs. I don't know how. I got to go look back. I was in disbelief when I saw that he's 5 spots ahead of Chase right now.
Well, so here's the other thing, and I don't know that this is not necessarily analogous because they're different teams. It's a different situation, etc. This time last year, I believe we were looking at the standings and looking at Kyle and Denny Hamlin being like 22nd and 23rd in points.
Yeah.
And so we saw what happened with that when they figured out their cars. They went to the front. So, I mean, I guess for me, I'm with you. I don't think Jimmy's got to do anything. Just keep on doing what you're doing. You're going to be in. Chase.
So Chase in 20th. Where does he got to be?
I think so. The people that are in front of him are like Eric Almirola and Eric Jones.
Well, let me tell you who they are. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Paul Menard, Ryan Newman, William Byron, and then Jimmy Johnson.
Well, so I can say right off the bat, you struck a chord with me on the on the Paul Menard. Paul Menard has always run consistently early in the year. Paul Menard has also shown that he is a good driver, and the Wood brothers are for real.
Mm-hmm.
And that it matters when you get in a good car, you get good performance out of said car. So I think Chase probably does need to win to leapfrog those guys.
I'm going to disagree, and here's why. If I rank those drivers that I just said, Jimmy Johnson in 15th, William Byron in 16th, so they're quote-unquote in right now. It's too early to say the word
right.
in.
That's dumb.
But that's 15th, 16th. Ryan Newman, Paul Menard, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Chase Elliott. If I had to rank those, I would say Jimmy Johnson, Chase Elliott in that order in terms of driver.
Like what we think they're capable of.
Right, what we think we're
Eventually,
capable of.
I mean,
so I don't think Chase has to win to get in. I think he can beat Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Paul Menard, Ryan Newman, and William Byron in points and get there. He's I mean, shoot, that's so close it doesn't even matter. That's they're 175 to 192. So
that's half a finishing
17,
order.
Yeah.
Or 2 stage wins.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's
However
so close.
You look at it.
I say definitely does not have to win to get in at this point. He has to continue being as consistent as we are. He has those blow-ups, those in golf when we have those. The reason that I'm not a consistent golfer is because I'll have those 2 8s, and everything else will be like it's bogey and
it's the penalty strokes.
The every once in a while par. But then you have those 2 8s that put you over 100, and so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you on that. That's exactly the kind of golf I play.
I'm talking about on a par 3.
Yeah, if I could figure, exactly, double par plus.
Mm-hmm.
If I could figure out how to eliminate the penalty strokes, I'd be in a much better shape.
So I think that's where he's at.
Early in this season, Chase has had a couple DNFs.
Mm-hmm.
DNFs that I don't know that he was necessarily the cause of. Now, we go to plate races. You won't have DNFs. I mean, one of the coolest things I heard this week on podcasts was talking about Dale Jr. having won 4 in a row at Talladega, and I think it was somebody that said it on the NBC.
It blows my mind that that's possible.
I think it was Burton. It said this was on the show last night, the Wednesdale, on NBC Sports Network, NASCAR America. Y'all should watch that if you aren't. It's fun. Jeff Burton's like, I don't even like finishing 4 Talladega races in a row.
No kidding.
How did you do it in first place?
No kidding. So that gets us to Jamie Mack, and I said it a few podcasts ago. That's like my closet driver that I've always really liked. 24th, Jamie Mack has to win, in my opinion.
Jamie Mack has to win.
And let me give you some names between Jamie Mack and kind of where he's at. Actually, there's a big gap between Jamie Mack and Chris Buescher in 25th, but between Jamie and Chase is AJ Allmendinger, Bubba, Suarez, and then it's Chase. So I think now we're naming people who are on a similar talent level / team level and where they need to be.
Yeah.
So he's got to win, in my opinion. I don't think he can race his way in to that.
He's got to win, and he hasn't won since 2010. So, tall order for Jamie Mack.
There's Clint Boyer.
Yeah, I mean, we can have the turnaround. It's obvious Ganassi's got good cars. You see how well Larson's been wheeling it.
And Dega is a place to do that, man. And that goes to Andrew's.
And he's a great plate racer.
Yeah, to Andrew's question. How does that affect the strategy of someone deep in points at a wild card track like Dega or a road course? I got to say, for Dega at least, I mean, everybody knows that's survival. And there's been all kinds of different strategies from, hey, I want to run all the way up front, so they're really bumping and banging trying to get up front so they avoid the big one. There's the times that they've been running in back. We've talked about it before where, like, that has worked some, where they're way off the lead pack pace, but big one happens and they just stop way before it happens.
Right.
But there's also been times where they were caught up in it. There's also been times where guys that are trying to get up to the front to avoid the big one cause the big one. Like, it's kind of this ironic sort of deal.
Had times where they lost the draft.
Yeah. So, the strategy is survival and do what you think your team is capable of to survive there. And definitely, to your point, that's a wild card track that anything can happen. I feel like, now you did bring up road courses. I think road courses have been sort of reeled in by the veteran guys and the guys that grew up on those things. I mean, you're not seeing the road course ringers being brought in and doing really well. You're not seeing Carl
certainly
Long
not doing well. They've never a road course ringer has never won a cup race.
But they've run up there.
But I
don't think they've been like top 10 in a while.
I think there's been 2 top 5s, but they don't. So the problem, the issue is now the way the points work is there was a time back in the 90s, maybe even in the 80s, but in the 90s for sure, when they were just running for total points, that you might pull your cup driver who wins races out of your car and put a ringer in because he's so bad at road racing. You just know that the only way to score owner's points is to put somebody else in the car.
Yep.
They certainly aren't doing that anymore. Nobody's building an extra car for a road course ringer because of how much that entails.
Yep.
So it's just not – I mean, those guys are getting in crappy cars to begin with.
Yep.
And hoping that they can take a 35th place car and finish 27th with it and really have a good day for that team.
Right. So as far as road course go, I don't think that's as much of a wild card in terms of who's got. You're going to see the same 15 drivers who have a chance.
Just go look who's won at Sonoma the last 10 years.
I can do that, actually.
I mean, those guys aren't single time winners. You know,
yeah.
Like you've won races if you're winning at Sonoma. You're not fooling anybody.
Right.
AJ's not winning that race.
Harvick, Stewart, Carl, Truex, Boyer, Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, Kyle Busch, Juan Pablo Montoya. Like we haven't named
everybody you just named except Juan Pablo.
Jeff Gordon had 3 in a row.
Everybody that you just named except Juan Pablo has at least 10 Cup wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not on road courses.
Yeah. So well, hey, vindication for the I guess random, not fact, but thought that I had about they're not as much as a wild card. But I totally agree. Somewhere like Dega can be a wild card. Wait till you get to my pick for Dega. It's time for second period, dude. Big news this week with Kenseth coming back. That's
the
year.
Longest first period I think we've ever had.
It is. Well, I mean, that was kind of the tearing it down / first
well,
period.
And then we brought in some Ask PETM as well.
So give old Jack Roush, a grade on this move with Kenseth coming back to 6 this year. Not like announcing, hey, in 2019 he's going to he's like, hey, kibosh, we're doing it this year. This had to be a mid-year decision too, obviously. But seeing the error of his ways or seeing, hey, this investment isn't working. Give him a grade to start with.
Well, so what I'll start with is what I'm most interested in knowing, and we'll probably never know, maybe in a few years when Kenseth officially retires and it really is done with racing is, when did this deal start? Because I got to believe putting together what's going to – looks like –
Ooh, is this tinfoil hat?
Yeah.
Conspiracy theory?
Putting together – not a conspiracy theory so much as putting together what looks like 8 races.
With sponsor.
Kenseth with a sponsor, a single sponsor. That takes time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of movement that has to take place within that process to get a company like Wyndham Hotels to say, yeah, we're willing to spend like $6-7 million if you're going to put that guy in the car. So I think the sponsor's great, especially when you consider, if Kenseth is in the last hour of his career, a reward points resort type company is a real good.
I saw a picture of
partnership,
Kenseth, and I thought, wow, he looks in better shape right now than I've ever seen. Like he looked younger. He looked like in quote unquote driver shape. He looked great. I was, and what I mean by driver shape is like actually in shape, not like, well, we've just been out going to resorts and getting fat. He was in like a Jimmy Johnson.
And that's why I'll say, Kenseth was always one of the first guys to jump on that train with Jimmy on riding the bike.
Mm-hmm.
And then Junior came on board later. Jamie McMurray is a part of that crowd too. The road bike and running all those miles at the racetrack. So you kind of figured he would be in shape, but to be in as good shape as he looks like he's in. He's known this was going to happen for a little while, is what I'm saying.
Right.
This would have had to start in at least February.
Yeah.
So, but it's time for grading, and I'll say this has got to be an A. I don't like it for Trevor Bayne. Kid, you got to stop hitting the damn wall.
Mm-hmm. And so, and by the way, Mick Rose at GoDucks42_Mix in a question with Matt Kenseth in the 6 car starting at Kansas. Will Roush be able to determine how much of their problem was Bayne and how much is Carr? And to your point right there, well, you're going to figure out more if you don't hit the wall so often and get.
I made a couple of jokes and I said a couple of real things on Twitter when this announcement came out, and I said, the joke was, I'm sure the shop guys back at the 6 at Roush Racing are pretty excited they're not going to have to put as many right side bodies back on the car, which is a mean thing to say, but it's funny. And the other thing is, I think it was Cancian or it was NASCAR. There's a couple different guys I interact with all the time that I don't remember their handles. NASCAR Nerd, maybe? It doesn't matter.
NASCAR Nerd, yeah.
Said, yeah, and if you bring a bent chassis in every week, there's not a whole lot to be learned.
Yep.
And that's what I said is, how do you make the car go faster if you bash the wall every third lap?
Yeah.
And that's what Bayne's been doing. You can't adjust a car that you now – the math that work, like, so a crew chief and a car chief are looking at computers and they've done a whole bunch of simulation stuff. They have practice. They got all this data. As soon as you bend the chassis, none of that matters anymore.
That's a good point. So I'm giving this a B, and the reason is, and here's the thing.
Did I grade it?
Yeah, you gave it an A.
I gave it an A. I'm being generous today.
Yeah. And I totally agree on the point that, like, you're going to bring in a veteran driver, a guy who knows a car, who's not going to bash the wall, who's going to get you some better data. You're going to get a lot better data. But the reason I'm not giving it an A is I think you can get the same better data and also be developing somebody new for those 8 races, or bringing in somebody who is not, as we've said, in the twilight of their career. But I'm not trying to be a sharp, pointed criticism here. It's a good move. A B is a good grade, man. You get all Bs, you're going to get a job wherever you want. So this is a good B. But I think to get that A, they put somebody maybe a little bit, whether you say younger or more on the front slope of their career.
Well, first off, a B driver wins races.
Good point.
That number one, first and foremost. The second thing I would say is, so here's my prediction. I'm going to put the 10 full hat back on.
Do it.
I think this is what happens. Kenseth comes in this year, runs, 8 of the final 26 races or whatever we got left. And they either, I don't know if they improve performance, but he's not going to hit the wall with the car.
Yep.
If it's supposed to finish 22nd, he's going to finish 22nd. Whereas Trevor Bayne would wreck the sumbits trying to finish 21st. Like, that's the problem they have right now.
Yeah.
I think Kenseth is going to run the full year next year in the 6 in 2019, And then I think he's going to share that car with what you just said, their identified new talent, so that they can work together on figuring out how the car ought to run.
Yep.
And that guy's going to be one of the 3 guys that runs the 60. That's Tyler Majeski, Austin Cindric, and off the top of my head, I can't remember the 3rd guy that's in that car.
And I wonder if you're Kenseth, if you say, "Hey, yeah, I'll come back. Give me a little piece of what's going on. Give me me a percent."
Yes.
You know?
So this is my other thing, right? My other thing. So Mark Martin is obviously coming in. You know, he didn't just show up because he was doing his Hall of Fame media tour. He showed up to let people know that he's with Roush. I'm a Roush guy.
Yeah.
So Mark Martin is going to be – he's going to have some kind of leadership role at Roush, and Kenseth is too. Y'all forget Jack's like 78 years old. It's about time for him to stop doing the day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
And I think the face of Roush Racing is going to be Matt Kenseth and Mark Martin for the next 15 years.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool to think about. And I think it's the first time that maybe me and you have been in this sport and see people graduate to that position, right? Because as long as we've been in the sport, you know, these names, Roush, Hendrick, etc., Gibbs have been well. First off, they've been old, and they've been in it so long that we never knew what they were when they were young.
Old.
Yeah, he's just old. Third period, dude. At the Talladega Xfinity race, Fox is experimenting with a drivers-only broadcast. Harvick is play-by-play. Boyer and Joey in the booth. Blaney, Jones, Bubba in the pits. Brad and Stenhouse in the Hollywood Hotel. Your grade on that?
I think it's an A+. They did it last year at Pocono, and it was absolutely awesome from my perspective. They had Danica's probably the only one that's different from what the names you just said. Danica and Bubba probably just swapped roles. All those guys are awesome. It was a ton of fun. Harvick's already, cemented the fact that like he's going to be in the booth. Whatever channel is covering NASCAR for whatever part of the year, Harvick is going to be a part of that thing because he's just good. And I would say the same thing for Brad. We're going to run out of positions for these guys. But Brad, of course, is going to get to run. He'll run Cup for another 15 years if he wants to, because he's only 33, I think, 32. So I think it's great. I think this is such a cool idea. It's a way to engage the fans to say, why would I watch on Saturday when my guy runs on Sunday? Well, my guy's going to be like on TV talking about the race on Saturday.
Right.
That's awesome.
Oh, that is a great point. You want to? Oh man, you just sparked something in me.
So
you got me right there, because exactly what you just said. This is that whole argument of the Cup guys being in the Xfinity series. Hey, all right, we'll put them in. We'll have them talk the whole race. That is brilliant. I love this.
I love it because there are people that genuinely only watch the Saturday race when their Cup driver is racing in it. So this is a way to give them, some content. Honestly, when I watched the Pocono race last year, I didn't turn the scanner on, which, me, I love the scanner. Like that, to me, that makes the race for me. I didn't turn the scanner on because Cup drivers were going to be talking nonstop the entire race.
Yep.
And to hear them give their opinion on what's happening, fantastic.
I'm going to give it an A-, and the minus comes from this. You have an opportunity here with the excitement that you've done here, and like you said, you did in Pocono last year. Let's mix it up a few more times. This is Xfinity or in the trucks or something. Why is Andy Petrie not in the freaking booth every freaking weekend?
I really think so.
Get the redneck crew, get a fan crew, get all these different types of crews that have different perspectives and stuff. I think you can really build a fun brand there. Have people vote on what their best or favorite guy was or something. Doing that stuff.
Yeah. So here's the reason why I think that's not happening is. So he is a contributor to Fox, FS1, the daily program, NASCAR Race Hub. He's on usually at least once a week on the panel. And I think the problem is they don't want somebody in the booth that is as closely linked to competition as he is. He's the RCR competition director now.
Yeah.
So I don't maybe they.
But here's the thing: how close to competition are these drivers that are going to be in there? They're pretty effing close.
Jeff Gordon owns the 48.
Yeah,
he is the listed owner for the 48. So it's like we've already got conflicts of interest. Why don't I mean? Maybe DePietri just don't want to do it. Is the only thing I can think.
Yeah. No, I just throw him out because I think he was the best.
Greatest by far in the time period that we have been listening and watching NASCAR. Andy Petrie is by far the best crew chief consultant on the broadcast.
Yeah, love it. More Andy Petrie is what I'm going for.
I mean, Tim Brewer, okay. Larry McReynolds,
Larry Mack, he's fine.
I mean, he's got a good personality. He knows a lot about the cars. I'm not sure. I don't like his broadcast style, but that's fine. A lot of people love him. Tim Brewer was so dry. It was hard to really get into him. But Andy has this really kind of a slow, I don't know, like a real soft way of saying some really smart stuff.
Well, and it's to me, that's kind of like Jeff Hammond. I'm cool with Jeff Hammond. He's cool. He's fine.
Jeff Hammond.
A lot of people, and even on the chat here, I'm seeing as DW is, and we know old David from MOATF is definitely not a DW fan there, but I'm seeing a lot of hate there. But yeah. So my A- is just, hey, take this opportunity and do this some more. Experiment with stuff. Xfinity and trucks are where they experiment in the Cup or in the NASCAR series.
Yeah, those are their test tubes.
Right. So do the same thing with broadcasts. Make it happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're going to see more of this. I mean, you've seen a lot of, you saw it with Carl. Carl was great in the booth on Saturdays. Mm-hmm. I think that I'd like to see him do it more with trucks. Trucks run way more races that are not companion races, which makes it difficult.
Right.
Maybe that's what you get Carl to come back and do. Get Carl back in the sport. Get off the tractor, Carl. You were awesome in the booth. I think you're right. Kevin's done a bunch. Junior's done some. We're going to get him the whole back half of the field during the Cup race, or back half of the year. Mm-hmm. Brad's been. I think Brad's been great, and I don't have to say that because I like him. The feedback that I've seen everywhere is, he does his homework.
Yeah,
he knows what's going on, and he does it. And Joey's actually pretty good. He's done a couple now.
Sure.
He's going to be on. He's going to be on the call on Saturday, right?
Yeah. What did I write here? He is.
I think he's the lead color
in the booth.
Yeah. He's lead color.
Yep. Harvick's play-by-play. Boyer and Joey are color. So
yeah. So that's going to be great. I mean, we're not going to get to hear it, unfortunately. That's okay though, because
it's
going to the races,
and I want to record it too. That makes me want to record it. Like this, you're doing a good job here, Fox. Good job. I'm going to be watching the race in person, and I want to rewatch the Xfinity race because of what you're doing there.
So what I don't remember was this Fox's Pocono or was this NBC's Pocono? Is Fox learned something from NBC?
Yeah.
I think it was NBC's because I remember saying, Fox, you need to be paying attention to what NBC's doing because they're doing some good stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. Fourth period coming up. Dale Jr. writing a book with Ryan McGee called Racing to the Finish, My Story. How huge of a duo is that? I mean, this is our A++ of the day. There's no way it can't be. That is the coolest thing. And those two people, Dale Jr., who do you want to hear talk about? Dale Jr. Who do you want to co-author? Ryan McGee. Holy crap.
Right. I want Marty Smith to do the audio book.
Yeah. Yes, please. Hey, you need to tweet that out. Hey,
it's already been out there.
Nice.
That's not an original idea. Okay. I saw it. No, I freaked out when I saw that McGee was attached to the project because I know he's a phenomenal writer. And what's really cool about this is it's not a biography. This is about the road to recovery from the concussions.
Oh, that's cool.
A whole bunch of stuff that Junior never shared with anybody. Like even his wife is going to read the transcript and not know that was going on. I'm
going to buy and here's the thing. Of course, Dale Jr. was going to write a book. Of course, I was going to get it. But the fact that it says, Ryan McGee on the bottom, holy crap. Like that's just a bonus to me.
Star power.
I was already going to buy it. So now bonus Ryan McGee is going to write it. Holy crap. That's awesome. So that's super cool. Fifth period. I love this one. Lewis Hamilton on Reddit giving a maybe one day answer to whether he'd come to NASCAR. Grade that move should it happen. What do you think? Lewis Hamilton in NASCAR.
Well, under the guise of what is the first question I would ask? What is the point? If the point is, you know what, I really always wanted to race a stock car since I met Tony Stewart and we did that goofy commercial and he got in my car and I got in his and we had some fun and I thought
that was a good commercial. That was a good. That whole series was great.
Yeah, that was an oil campaign I think for Mobil 1. But I can't remember.
They did these awkward, funny commercials. I loved it.
Yeah. And there were some awkward Coca-Cola ones in there, too. But maybe that's what it was Coke. Sorry, Coke. Sorry, Mobil 1, if I'm jacking this up and y'all are listening. You're not. I think it would only be good for NASCAR for Lewis Hamilton to come run a race. What I don't know for sure is if it's only one race and it's the Daytona 500.
Oh, you're not going to see anything. Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously his result will matter, but I mean, I think there's got to be something bigger than. I'd rather see him run Indy. Like, I'd rather see him
or Bristol, say maybe or one of the one and a halves.
I mean, he's a young dude, but
or a road course. Get him in his road course.
F1 retires you early.
Yeah.
When you're 33 years old in F1, you are ancient.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's 29 or something like that. And he's won everything there is to win, just about. I think what I'd love to see him do is actually run the.
He's actually 33, believe it or not.
Is he? So he's ancient.
Ancient
for F1. I'd like to see him run the Indy 500 1 year, and then come back the next year and run Brickyard.
Yeah. So here's my grade. I'm going to give 2 grades. He's 33 right now.
I didn't give a grade, did I?
A 35-year-old Lewis Hamilton running 5 races in NASCAR gets my A+.
Yes.
A 46-year-old Lewis Hamilton running the Daytona 500 gets like a C in my book.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Oh, drinking word.
Yeah. 100%.
Mm-hmm. So, is this a like retirement stunt just to, get some more money and get some, waving your hand and whatever, and maybe a few more people tune in, but at that point he's just going to finish who cares where, and then it just dies down. Nobody's talking about it 2 races later. Or is he going to be a driver? He's going to be like a Juan Pablo Montoya or something like not even that level of commitment, but come and run 5 or 6, 8, 10 races.
That would be the good analogy.
Mm-hmm.
Juan Pablo came over when he was 32, 33 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he didn't have nearly as much success in F1 as Lewis has had, but he was the same sort of international personality as a racer. Like, everybody knew who Juan Pablo – we knew who Juan Pablo Montoya was. What do we call him? Juan Pablomi Mount Everest Toyota?
Yep, I think that's what we did.
I think that's the name we generated for him. But we were generally excited for him to be here because, you get an international presence. You got a Colombian race car driver, running full time.
Yep.
That was good. And he won a race. He won a race his first year. Now, once they changed the car to the new chassis that's so stiff, he didn't have as much success anymore, but that's fine. But it was generally good. If Lewis wants to come over and run, and somebody wants to build him a car and run, 5 or 6 races, like you said, 8 races, run a whole season as a 34, 35, 36, not a 40-year-old yet.
Right.
That means something. But, yeah, to your point, showing up 37, 38 years old, your F1 career's washed out, and you want to run the Daytona 500, who gives a spit?
Yeah. I mean, it will generate that publicity. It'll be a flash in the pan kind of publicity versus like a publicity where you're going to bring over a fan base. You know what I mean?
Yeah, stay away from Daytona, Lewis. Go run Bristol.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Or some of the road courses or something, especially as popular as road courses are getting and stuff. Absolutely. It's time for recess. Let's talk paint for recess.
Uh-oh.
We've got 2 paint schemes that were just revealed. Bubba is in a 1983-inspired number 43 Petty paint scheme at Talladega. I don't know if you saw that one, Sherman, but yeah, I mean it's got the Petty blue.
It did.
With
it's
the red.
Just the red is just like a stripe down the whole side of the car. Right?
Beautiful deal. Yeah. A+ on that one for me. And Blaney unveils his Darlington throwback paint. It's his dad's 2003 Jasper ride.
Yeah, so that was back when that 77 was really just they were just kind of chained to Penske. It wasn't really a Penske car.
Yeah.
You know, when Sam Hornets Jr. got in the 77, it was a shown off Penske car. But back then, it was just kind of they were getting help from Penske, but that's about it.
I give that one a B- because 2003 should not be a throwback at this point because that makes me feel really old. I know that's 15 years ago, but like it should be pre-90s. Like, come on.
I think I don't know exactly what they published as this is the decade we want you to pick, but I think it was like 95 to 2005.
Oh my gosh. I mean 05 just happened.
But,
like it was just there, right?
They don't. Nobody.
I was an adult.
Nobody
I'm still
obeys
an
the
adult.
rules, though. Like, I mean, Bubba's car's a paint scheme from the 80s.
Yeah, but that's for Talladega. The 43. Yeah.
Oh.
He's running that now. Now.
Okay, now.
Yeah. This weekend at Talladega, he's running the 1983 paint scheme.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't connect
It's
the
all
dots
good.
on that.
No, I don't. That one. I'm a big fan of. Blaney is, like I said, like I love the scheme. I love I think it's really cool that he's we watched Dave Blaney ride. Now we're watching Ryan Blaney ride. That's
well, we
cool.
watched Dave Blaney win Toyota's first pole at Bristol.
Yeah.
In the 22 for Bill Davis.
So
Caterpillar ride.
I think that's cool. Man, that
remember that car? That
oh,
was a sharp
dude,
car.
I just got goosebumps. I love that Caterpillar car. That thing's awesome. Time for Ask PETM. We already sort of did two of those questions, but Mindless Homers at Mindless Homers. Thank you for sending in.
He's a Braves fan and a NASCAR fan.
Booyah, our kind of guy. He says, hey guys, with Talladega coming up, I've noticed something, and I have a question. We've seen a Chevy win this year at Daytona, and Chase finished second last weekend, but the new Camaros have essentially an eye socket, like a divot, for the quote unquote lights on the front. He says, I want to know, or I know they want the car to look authentic, but Camry and Fusion are smooth on the front. Do you think it makes sense to say that socket increases drag on the front of the car, and do y'all think it matters?
So first,
I bet you and me have a. By the way, I already have my response like preloaded right now, and I'm curious. I'm going to be honest too, but I'm going to be curious how much that parallels what you're about to say.
Sure. So first and foremost, the way they sticker the headlights is always deceiving because they add shading to try to show texture. Mm-hmm. That whole groove in the front part of the Camaro, I guarantee, is flat all the way across. So while it does create a little drag up under the lip of the hood, it doesn't create nearly as much drag around the headlights as you might think. And the other thing is, if you take a really good look at the Toyotas, one of the things they've done a good job of is hiding the fact that NASCAR made them put two little gills on the front, right where you would think the brake duct coolers would be.
Okay.
That grab air.
Yeah. So interestingly, we're parallel, but we're not on the same line here. So I was curious how that was going to be. But my thing is the number of engineers and eggheads that are on this and know every curve of the car. And I'm not trying to disparage what you're saying. If you're seeing that and if it's there, it might be there. I'm not saying it's not there, but I'm saying that they're not going to put a divot in there unless they have put it through wind tunnels and multiple tests on tracks and everything else and determined that it means something or doesn't mean something. So for me, it's definitely there are people who know way more than I do about it who have determined that it's not an issue if it's even a thing. So
so here's the other thing you need to know, because you probably don't listen to nearly as many podcasts as I do, because I'm a junkie in that respect, and I don't have anybody to tell me no, get out of that damn phone, is the Camaro ZL1 street car was designed after the race car. The race car was first. The first step for Chevy and Camaro was to build a race car and then figure out, okay, how do we turn this into a passenger car? That's really not been done before.
Yeah.
Now, we knew there would be a learning curve. Toyota built this great car. They redesigned their car to win races as well, but it's a Camry. So, I mean, it's a family car. This Camaro knows, and everything about it was designed to be a winning race car first.
Yeah.
That was the point of it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
Gotta love it.
So that's why they redesigned the street car. It's because they wanted a race car.
Yeah. So here we go. It's time to gas it up, dude. Talladega. We already said it. We're going to Talladega. I have a quick story, hopefully quick story here. I'm naming this episode. The name of this episode that I've already put on there is Flying Solo to Talladega. And that means something on this episode because
there's a duality to the meaning.
There's a duality. Yeah. There's a whole thing going on here. And it's that obviously we're flying solo in terms of we didn't have a guest this week, so me and you just get to banter and talk NASCAR like me and you talk NASCAR.
We probably talked over each other more without having a guest than when we do have a guest.
So far, this has felt like, y'all, this is like this. We need to do this, actually. Sherwin, remember this. We need to do this before Darlington because this feels old school to me. Me and you just sitting here. Yeah, we're just sitting here talking NASCAR just like we did on the couch before we started this podcast. Like, this is how we this is how the whole thing started.
Absolutely.
But there's a double meaning to flying solo to Talladega, y'all.
I think I know what it is.
I'm pretty sure you do because I know I've told you because I was super excited at the time. We haven't talked about it a ton on here, but I'll go ahead and give it a little more detail. Back a year and a half ago, I decided that I wanted to be a pilot. I'm gonna get my pilot's license. I'm going to figure out this whole flying thing. There's an airport 1.2 miles from me, and our alma mater, Georgia Tech, their flying club is out of Peachtree DeKalb Airport right here in Atlanta. And I said, you know what? I want to figure this thing out. I want to do something. Maybe this is my midlife crisis or whatever you want to call it. But it's like, damn it, I'm smart enough. I should be able to figure this thing out. And so far, I've had a blast with it. So here's the thing: when you're a student pilot, the culmination of almost your whole thing before you go take your test, it's a practical test and an oral exam. So you have to sit there with your examiner and he asks you whatever he wants to ask you and you have to answer him. And then you go flying and he does whatever he wants, right? He can say, all right, you lost your engine, now what? And he just takes a power and pulls it out for you. Or he says, all right, there's clouds up ahead. What are you going to do? And just all these different things, and you have to pass all that. So there's a lot of study. There's a lot of stuff. Sherwin was here every week. I was probably talking his ear off about all the crap that I was doing that week and whatnot. But all your training culminates before you go do that check ride is what it's called. Probably the biggest thing you do is called your student long cross country. And that means you have to do this. It has to be like at least 150 miles between 3 different points and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter, all that stuff. But what does matter is my instructor, my flight instructor told me, he said, here's the thing. So you can do your long cross country. You've already done some like short, quote unquote, short cross countries that are 50 miles or 75 miles. He says this one has to include 3 airports and it has to be 150 miles. And a lot of people like to do from here in Atlanta. People like to fly down to like either Macon or Savannah or Asheville or Knoxville or those are kind of going around that side, going around the east side there. Mm-hmm. And he said, so tell me what you want to do. He said, here's the thing: you could take the easy route. You've already done some cross countries up, sort of northeast. He's like, you can do that and extend it a little further, and then come back. And he's like, and that's pretty easy. He said, or you can try to challenge yourself, do something a little different, do somewhere you've never been before, and that you have to sort of figure out how you're going to get there and how you're going to get back and how things are going to work and what all the different things you have to think about when you're there. And so I already had something in mind. And I said, all right, I'll get back to you. And I come back to him and I said, all right, what do you think about Talladega? And he goes, you redneck.
That's awesome.
So I was like, man, I want to fly to Talladega. That would be so cool to me. And that it totally fits a profile of exactly like the amount of miles that you have to do that's required and everything. And sure enough, I did it. I put together the plan. He approved it and all that. And I flew to Talladega Airport. It's right there next to it. Like it's so close to the track, you feel like you're landing on the track. You might even confuse the track with the actual runway.
Right, because it used to be an old Air Force base.
Yeah, it is right there next to it. So I did a lap around Talladega in a plane that I was flying. I mean, the only disappointment to me was that there wasn't somebody like you in the passenger seat. As a student, you can't have passengers. But you have to do it by yourself. This is a solo trip. This is by myself, no instructor or nothing. and I went there, and you're supposed to just land. And I was like, I'm not just going to land. I'm going to fly around Talladega and do a lap or two. And, dude, I did like some 30-second laps. I was No, it was that was awesome. So we're calling this episode Flying Solo to Talladega, partly because of that. But that's something that, by the way, I'll never forget for the rest of my life is flying by myself as a student pilot, having no idea what I'm doing. I say no idea. I mean some idea because my instructor signed off on me being able to do it, but no autopilot or anything. You got to figure out how to get there and all that. It's really cool in terms of an accomplishment, but also, Sherwin, me and you have to fly to Talladega at some point. It's super.
Well,
cool.
we've talked about this.
Yeah,
we definitely we got to figure that out because I want to have that experience as a passenger. And be like going NASCAR. No.
Oh, it's super cool.
You know what? I know you didn't have this in the notes, and I know we're already running a little longer than we normally would when we're flying solo.
But
right. I have something anecdotal to add.
It
has nothing to do with flying, but it has to do with the things that we're passionate about. So I just happened to catch where a kid, I say kid because he's a college student, reached out to Ryan Eversley and invited him to come. Gotta let Rusty cough one out.
Yeah, it was down the wrong pipe.
Yeah, I hear you. Drink it, don't breathe it.
No
invited Ryan Eversley, who lives in Atlanta. He's from Atlanta. You would know him if you listen to the Dinners with Racers podcast. He races sports cars. They invited him to Georgia Tech to drive their Formula SAE GT Motorsports car.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, hell yeah. And so I followed, and I was like, that's so cool. And I started talking with the guy. And so anyway, as a part of our outreach or whatever we're doing with Georgia Tech, we need to include GT Motorsports because I think at least one of those guys would be on board for talking about Formula SAE and GT Motorsports.
Absolutely.
And I was like, man, that means a lot to us because we already mentioned the guy on the podcast, one of our best friends who's not around anymore. He was like, he drove the car in Australia, the GT Motorsports Formula SAE car. It's a pretty cool program. It's a platform kind of like Legends, but you build a car that looks like more like some kind of a hybrid version of a street Indy car. It runs on a 600cc motorcycle motor.
Yeah. So, with that, Sherwin, where are we staying? What we're doing?
Oh, man. So we're doing Talladega the right way is what it sounds like to me. We're staying on the infield with our friend Stacy Coleman. You didn't get to meet her, unfortunately. We've talked about the circumstances surrounding Darlington. Was a great time hanging out with her. I'm sure you've seen some of the pictures I posted that I took with her in the stands there at Darlington. And she invited us then to come to Talladega in the spring. I've got space. We've got 3 spots. You just come on down. And, it's happening.
It's happening. We just made it happen.
We're driving tomorrow. We're going
drunk decisions. We've got to make some drunk financial decisions.
Buy an infield ticket at the gate at entrance gate 9, which is one of the entrance to the infield. We're staying in Geico Green on the infield, and we're going to raise almighty hell.
Hell yeah.
On Talladega Boulevard.
Sherwin.
Oh, man, I love that.
There it is with Dale. It's time for picks.
Who did I pick last week? You remember?
I don't remember because neither me nor you picked Kyle. And
well, of course not. We had an opportunity there.
I think I might have picked Joey. And he got
good pick.
4th or 5th, or maybe.
He had a bad restart. I think he ended up 7th or 8th.
I'll tell you because I already told you I'm picking somebody, dude, who had the best finish, other than first, obviously at Daytona, but also the most emotional finish, the best thing that ever could have happened at Daytona. It was Bubba Wallace, and I'm picking him for Talladega right now.
Darrell Wallace Jr.
baby. So, yeah, do it to it, Bubba.
Damn, that's awesome. I love that pick. Somebody in one of the shows picked they were doing the DraftKings thing where you get to pick 6 drivers and you only get to spend $50.
Talk about a coin toss kind of race.
Well, so somebody picked Casey Kane. I was like, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like it. There's crapshoot or whatever. So here's the deal.
Casey did good at Dega, if I remember. Or he was at least running up front most of the race.
Yeah, in a different car, he certainly has run well in plate races. Doesn't finish well, but usually because of crashes, not because of other weird reasons. So, given that Penske has won 5 of the last 7 Talladega races, I am going to go with young Ryan Blaney.
Nice. I love our picks. And hey, the Bubba Blaney thing, that's real, man.
Mm-hmm.
So both going to be in the Fox booth for, or are they both pit reporters?
They're pit reporters.
Yeah, both
on
pit
Saturday,
reporters on Saturday. So yeah, that's I love it. I love those picks. Great pick, by the way. That really dovetails into my pick, or vice versa, whatever it is.
Right. That's perfect.
Let's start closing it
They're
down.
They're going to listen to death metal tomorrow night, I'm sure.
Me and you are going.
Blaney's already talked about on the Glass Case of Emotion. He talked about. He's like, I'm going to buy Super Soakers, and I'm filling up with liquor, and I'm squirting people on Talladega Boulevard tomorrow night, and I'm bringing beers.
I love it.
So Blaney's going to be getting hammered tomorrow night and squirting people with liquor.
I'm in. I hope to have a open mouth. I'm there. So that gets us to, we'll start closing it down with Strange with Stang. Ashley J. Stang asks us this week, what's the most awkward compliment you have given or received or have witnessed? I've got one, and I hope it is funny to everybody else. It is to me. Sherwin, do you have any?
I had something. I thought of another thing that I've now since forgotten. Didn't commit it to memory. So what I'll say, this is like not funny. This is like not serious either, but like so my
kind of awkward, kind of serious.
Well, definitely awkward in a sense that I got sent to the principal's office for it. So
is this at work or like?
Yeah, this was at work.
Oh crap! Like that's a real principal.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Y'all, if you're in school right now and you get sent to principal, that's no big deal. Everybody gets
you'll
sent
live
to
through detention.
Yeah, that's fine. But this is like the principal's office.
You might not live through like the principal's office.
Yeah.
And what's funny to me is Rusty and I have been calling it that way for years.
Oh, for sure.
But like all my new friends from this like research community I used to work in, they all call that the same thing.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So anyway, when I came back from my hiatus at the ranch, I worked for a sporting goods store in my hometown, and I worked mostly during the day. Like most people were at school, and then the high school kids would like get out of 6th or 7th period, and they would come in, and I made the mistake of saying like the exact wrong thing about the way a girl looked who was not facing me, and I got sent to the principal's office for that. And there is no more awkward conversation that a 24-year-old can have with his boss than, I can't have you hitting on a 17-year-old at work.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, that is not where I was going with that. But I understand why it came out wrong.
So... Oh, this is terrible, but mine is strangely similar. No, it's not, but I know where you're coming from. That's awkward. It
was super awkward. I felt super bad because it's not the way I intended it. I just said whatever. I don't remember even the words. Like I blocked it out of my memory, the words I actually used because of how awkward that moment ended up being.
Right. So there's been many comedians talk about this and stuff, and other people have too. In that, if you're I'm 35, about to be 36, 35-year-old male with no kids. At least I'm married, so I've got this thing going on. But if you're around kids, people get a little weirded out nowadays, right? Like every dude who's 35 and doesn't have kids must be like a creep or something, Like, it's not the way it is, man.
I feel
right, yeah, right. So
actually, I'm pretty good at being Uncle Sherwin.
Well, and here's the thing: is among your friends, it's okay, it's fine. They all know who you are. They know so much more about you, or whatever. But there's still the sort of awkward moment, and so I'll give you the awkward moment here. is with our buddy Waylon and his 2 kids. Kate and Catherine, but this was Kate. Kate's the older one, and I think she was Caroline. I said Catherine. Yeah. Sorry, doesn't matter. I don't have kids.
No, it doesn't matter. I was going to say Kate's the one that likes me. Caroline, we're still working it out.
Yeah, it's still working on that thing. This was when Kate was probably 4 years old or so. They were over at our house. I think we were having a party or something, and so. A bunch of people over or whatnot. We're having a good time. We set up this kids station. Like we're I'm actually good with kids. Like we've got the kids station, they're doing stuff and they're having fun and whatnot, and the adults are having fun. Everybody's drinking, but
kids
not getting
station
crazy.
means a cage, y'all, with toys in it.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's but that's the thing. I can play Uncle Rusty. Like I've got all the toys, I've got all the stuff. You can do whatever you want. This is awesome. I don't even care what you do. Like, the parents have to deal with this every night. Like if they draw on the floor or whatever one night, I'll clean it up. Whatever. If they do it every night, I'm probably going to be upset. But one night, whatever. If the kids mess with something, I'll clean it up. It doesn't matter. So at the end of the night, as they were leaving, the father, Chris, says to his daughter, tell Mr. Rusty, go tell Mr. Rusty, thank you for everything. You had fun tonight, right? Yes. Okay, go tell Mr. Rusty. Now, she's adorable. She's wearing this adorable little, cute dress or whatever. And she runs up to me and goes, Mr. Rusty, thank you. And she reaches down to her ankles. And for whatever, this is like the like little kid random thing. She picks her dress up and pulls it straight up over the top of her head like she's running across the finish line.
Freaking Nell.
Yeah, perfect. And so there's this awkward like split second where like me and her have just been talking. She's like, Mr. Rusty. I'm like, hey, Kate, what's up? And she goes, thank you. And pulls her dress all the way up. And like there's a moment where I have eyes locked with a 4-year-old in her underwear. And I'm like, oh, crap. No, this is not, I did not do this. What's going on? What the hell's happening? And I look up
I need some intervention here.
Right. I look up at Waylon and I'm holding my hands up. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And he's just busts out laughing. He's like, Rusty, you don't have kids. You don't understand. This type of crap just happens all the time. It's hilarious. That's funny. That's how it goes. But for me, as a 35-year-old with no kids, you get that freak out. You're like, no. I'm not that guy.
Put your clothes back on.
Yeah. Put that back on. I don't know. Get out of my house. You can't do this. So, most awkward, like 0.1 seconds, because he started busting out laughing, then I started laughing. And we had a good time with it. But there was a split moment where it was like, I'm not doing anything.
It was problematic.
Yeah. It was. What the hell? You can't do this to me. It's terrible. So there it is. My awkward, compliment or thank you that I got from somebody.
I don't even. Yeah.
So there you go, y'all.
Being that child has sat on my lap in my arms for like an entire football game.
She's awesome. It's really fun. She's
only
great.
picture any of y'all will see on social media of me holding a baby is this person that Rusty's just subscribed.
Absolutely. Yeah. She's great. With that, Sherwin, let's close this thing down. We've been talking forever. I hope everybody's had fun on flying solo to Talladega. Y'all listen to Sydney Lett here right quick. She's
hey, make
sure
you don't post 143, by the way, because you got that in the notes.
Yeah. I've changed it to 144. I got the thing going. So y'all, you know where to find us.
Oh, she put out some new music, like her playing.
Sydney did?
Yeah, just on Instagram or whatever.
Oh, good. Just kind of doing
go follow at Sydney Lett.
Absolutely. And y'all know where to follow us, PTMpodcast.com, at PTMpodcast. And as always, I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace at Tailgate Mayor.
And I am Andrew Sherwin at Pregame Engineer and at Andrew L. Sherwin on the Instagram. And we have the same handle on Instagram as we do on the Twitter. It's at PETM Podcast.
There you go.
So also go to iTunes if you're using that outlet to listen to us and rate us and leave us a review. Hopefully you won't tell us that we should go fly a kite, but if that's what you want to leave there, please do.
Give us that 5-star review and say, these guys can fly a kite.
Well,
I want to see that one.
Yeah.
That one person who does that. I love that.
Yeah. Cuss us out and then also give us 5 stars.
Love y'all. Thank you so much for joining y'all. Love the PTM Posse. If this is your first time, hope you've had fun. If it's not, thank you for joining and coming back to us. We'll talk to y'all next week. And if you're going to Talladega, tell us where you're going to be. Let's go see each other. This will be fun.
We got a couple things lined up already.
We'll talk to y'all next time. There it is, y'all.
I'll wait till we're done with YouTube to tell you who we're going to definitely meet up with, because I think he was a little concerned his employer might think he was having too much fun.
I know exactly who that is.
Okay.
So, yep. Yeah, that'll be awesome. Anyway, y'all, thank y'all so much for joining. We're going to shut this thing down. It's been fun. I've laughed a bunch.
It's time to drink some liquor.
Oh, Roger, with the kids are random. Absolutely, that was the thing. Oh, man. I hope folks enjoy that thing. My employer, I hear you, man. Our employer, or my employer at least, it's crazy what's going on in my employment right now, but essentially they don't care what I do.
Yeah, there's a strong chance I'd take a global conference call while riding in Rusty's truck tomorrow.
Yep, that'll happen.
And by strong chance, I mean
100%. Definite chance. All right, y'all. We're going to stop this thing. Thank you so much for joining. We'll talk to y'all next week and see you in Talladega, hopefully.
Ski!